What's going on, people? We are back in the house. It's myself and Deluded in the house, back again on the channel. How are you, my bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm appreciative for the invite, man. Happy to speak Arsenal. Hopefully, we're still in good spirits, the next time we talk on either platform. But for now, I'm good, man. Pleasure to be here again, bro. Thanks for the invite.
Now, come on, man. You know you're always welcome, brother. And
Come
we've got
on.
to try and share some of the content, share some of the love on each other's channels. And this time, it's your turn to come on to mine, mate. Listen, it's been a mad time at the moment, bro. 2024. Who would have thought it? If you go back to the COVID year of 2020, one, it's mad to think that was 4 years ago. But now you look at it 4 years on and think, we're a different Arsenal. We're a different outfit. We've got different players. There's a different feel around the place. We're going back to games. The stadium's absolutely buzzing again, and everyone's looking forward to the next game. And that's what I'm at the moment, DG. I sit there and think to myself, Saturday can't come quick enough. Like, it's really, really exciting and enjoyable watching Arsenal again. How are you feeling right now?
I mean, the way you put it, there's not much more I can say onto that, man. When you consider, the COVID years, and I'll simply put being in the trenches, I'm just enjoying every time that comes. As you said, it's a pleasure to watch games. We'll be at the Emirates. I've never seen in recent years in the Emirates, anyways, like we've got a starting 11 or a bunch of players that are actually likable. Everything seems to be coming into place, man. The only thing I would say is it enough to get the title over the line? I'm sure we're going to discuss that. But yeah, as you said, man, it's good times in 2024. Definitely off the back of how 2023 ended for us, man.
100%, man. Listen, let's start with Mikel Arteta because there's a lot of rumours that he's either going to be signing a new deal or offered a new deal or a little bit of both. I personally feel like the deal's going to be done. I don't think the Cronkies want him to go anywhere. I think the board are happy with him, and I think Mikel Arteta is happy at Arsenal. But there is definitely a fan base out there that has a little bit of a different opinion. I think there's probably 70-30 that are for Mikel Arteta. Maybe it's a bit more towards 80-20 at the moment. I think that changes throughout the season. You probably asked me after West Ham Fulham, and it was the other way around at one stage. This is
Yeah,
what happens within the fan base. It's football, man. Things change, times change, and information changes, right? And people's opinions change quite a lot with what you see. And the eye test for me is probably one of the best tests you can use. Right
facts.
now, anybody that wants the manager done and dusted, I think is a little bit extreme, if I'm honest. But at the same time, I wouldn't sit there and say someone was deluded to question that he might not be able to get us across the line still this season. I think that would be fair to say. So, what do you make of this new deal potentially? Do you think it should wait till the end of the season? Do you think it would be fine if he was to sign something now? Where's your thoughts at, bro?
To be honest with you, Dan, I think it's signed already, man. I think it's signed, sealed, and
Yeah.
delivered. I think the club will wait for the right time, maybe depending on how the season ends, when the dust settled and everybody accepts it. I think obviously that's when you announce it. And I mean, you said it perfectly there. It's like I believe in Mikel Arteta. I don't blindly believe in anyone. There's question marks over him, just like with the players. But I think when you look at the philosophy, when you look at the way we're playing, when you look at, obviously City and historically Liverpool have been there, but we're almost like we're one of the top three. We're competitive again. And I think that's why KSE won't pull the boat out and get rid of him if that was the case. I do think we're moving into a scenario where fond of the rebuild, fond of the development, can you get us over the line? And I think some of those question marks are legitimate. If there was an imaginary world where, we was like how Chelsea used to be under Abramovich and there's someone that can do what Arteta does, but has a proven winning pedigree, then obviously if you could bring that in, it's one love Arteta. But at this moment in time, I agree with you. I think it's a bit extreme to be sitting out there with pitchforks and things like that, really. I think we're kind of getting to that stage where we're going to be competitive. And it's almost the hope that kills, bro. It's like this season, there's been some ups and downs, but we've been great. Last season was a breath of fresh air. For all of that, though, you want to get over the line, bro. You want something that's sealed in history that we've done it. And I guess that's where we're at, really. And obviously, we know Pep isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but one day he will leave. City will still be up there. Liverpool are going through their transition. Chelsea are currently doing that. Spurs are the same. It feels like we're in that middle ground where if we could just get things right, I'm not saying we're going to be the biggest and the baddest and win them all the titles in the world, but it feels like we could achieve something. It feels like we've got something here, really. And I'm sure you've seen, the clean sheets, the goals being scored, the shots on target. We're doing the business, bro. So that's where I'm at. But I think he signed a new deal. And naturally, obviously managers can leave at any time, bro. But, you've seen Odegaard. I know Ramsdale's not the best of example, but Ramsdale, Odegaard, Saka, all of them have signed new deals. Players have come into the club. It doesn't really make sense to get rid of Arteta at this moment in time, as you can see, man, we're doing what we need to do.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you the question about managers in general being offered deals midway through seasons. Do you feel like it should be like wait to the end, see where you're at, and then offer the deal, or do you think the opposite and it gives more confidence boost to the manager and the players and the stature of the club?
It's a techie one, Dan, man. I guess it all depends on the context, really and truly. Obviously, we've got a bit more stability about ourselves. But if you look at when Arsenal was more fluctuating, as you kind of said, there's been some difficult results and whatnot. I think it's a thing like that, man. I do think it could be a distraction on one hand, but then on the other hand, if you're a professional footballer and there's question marks over your manager, when you step onto that field, do you necessarily care? And as a professional footballer, managers can leave. I'm pretty sure Klopp's one took people by surprise, but I think it all depends on the climate of the club and what a particular club's going through, bro.
Yeah, listen, I'm a bit like two minds. And I remember when they did it last time, we were going for top four. It looked like top four was going to happen. We still weren't there in top four, and they went boom, new contract. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute, nothing's happened yet. What are we doing? At the same time, I understood then that there was transparency and stability with the club. So it was a little bit of two minds.
Yeah.
I think with this, I think that he has probably got enough credit in the bank for the ownership's point of view and the board's point of view to be giving him a new deal. And that's where they're at. And once they make that decision, the fans have no control over it, man. They can't sit there and start getting excited or like, oh my God, what's happening? You got to roll with it and see what's happening. And whether you believe in it or think that it's wrong, it's happening. So I don't see Mikel Arteta going anywhere. I think if we were to finish third or have it crazy and go outside of that, I still think he'd stay. I think for me, when you drop out of that top four, I think people will then have more justification to go, where the hell are we going here? But as long as people are seeing progression or believe that what they're seeing on the pitch is working, I think you're always going to have the section of the fan base that are going to be like, why change it? It's happy. We're happy. It's good. And you can't argue with that, bro. You can't argue with the fact that Arsenal are good to watch at the moment. You can't argue with the fact that things have changed for the better in 2024 under Mikel Arteta's reign. So even when people have had doubts like myself, I've had concerns over the regime as a whole with the ownership.
Definitely me as well, man.
Yeah, man, of course we have. But when you look at things that are going well, it doesn't really matter because winning cures all, man. So that's where I'm at. Big up to Steve Haynes.
Nice.
Big up to Stephen, should I say. If you do want to become a member, all you need to do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit join if you do want to support the channel like Stephen's done. Absolute legend, man. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. Big up to my boy Elliot as well, man. We're going to get you on next week for sure. It says big up, Dan. Deluded back again. Look forward to the show.
Elliot, man.
Big up, man. Listen, let's talk about some of the players that have been absolutely on fire of late, man. There's quite a few of them, which is mad because normally there's a couple we can talk about, but I'm running out of fingers, man. The amount we can talk about at the moment, bruv. So let's start from the front. I think the one player who's clearly taken a step forward and has in some games been unplayable in 2024 is Martin Odegaard. I think Martin Odegaard, from what I have seen, has actually led by example as a captain, and I wanted to get your thoughts on his performances this season, mate.
I mean, the guy's been amazing, man, really and truly. I know he had there was a lot of question marks within the fan base. Personally, I think he started to come into form kind of around the time, where we weren't winning, just before the Dubai trip, or better yet, just before the start of the year. He's really relishing that new role, man. Obviously, he's in the 10. He's got a great relationship with Benjamin White, whoever's up front, and Bukayo Saka. In recent kind of fixtures, you've seen him dropping deep a lot. There's nothing else I can say that you haven't said with the Glaswegian Martin Odegaard. He's a joy to watch. I didn't initially, for as much as I've loved him, and it's been a difficult road because he had a tough time when he came in. I didn't necessarily agree with him being the captain, but right now he's showing why he's the captain. He's not a traditional captain of sorts to me, but he's doing his job, man. And I personally think he's very underrated where we talk about how good he could be. Like, obviously he's a great player, but when we talk about potential world beaters or world beaters of tomorrow, it's the Salibas, rightly so, it's the Sakas, it's the Declan Rices, sometimes Martinelli, etc. And I think people don't give Martin Odegaard his credit. I think he's one of the most important signings Mikel Arteta has made, where you look at how he's deployed in the system, and in hindsight, I can see why he's being given the captaincy, but that's why Arteta's the gaffer, and we're talking on YouTube, isn't it? So yeah, man, big up Odegaard.
Mate, you're absolutely bang on. And I think what Martin Odegaard has shown is why he's got the armband this season, because there's been games where he's dragged us across the line. I understand there's other performers out there, don't get me wrong, but sometimes when you look at what he's done on the ball, it has literally been through him and he's been unplayable, man. So big up to him. I think also what that's done is it's allowed our whole right-hand side to develop. And I want to talk next about Ben White and Saka together, because we're now starting to see both of them come into their own, like we saw at the start of last season, DG.
They got rid of the silly haircuts and they're back, man. It's as simple as that, bro. Like, Saka forgot himself, Benjamin White forgot himself.
Hair, man.
I gotta be like Graham Souness, man. But you're right, man. Benjamin White, I think at the start of the season, like I was making videos saying I believe Big Gabriel's our most underrated player. Now I think it's Benjamin White. Obviously, Benjamin White is very good. He's durable. I don't think people give him credit for what you actually have to do as a fullback in that Mikel Arteta system, whether you're inverting, whether you're becoming part of the back 4 or 3, whether you're overlapping. Benjamin White's mustard. And the only criticism I can say for Benjamin White is I wish Southgate felt the same way we feel. But then again, from a selfish fan point of view, if we've got a player that should be in the England squad, not going off to the international break, it's great for us. And what can you say about Bukayo Saka, man? People said he's having a slow season. He's doing the business and he's a real quality player, man. Like, that one's easy, man. Like, benefit to have them. And Benjamin White in particular has come a long way, because I'm sure you remember when we signed him in Ramsdale, there was a lot of question marks. Are they good enough? £50 million off the back of one Premier League season. And it's fair to say it's working out. Maybe even, I know Timber's injured, but, Benjamin White, you're fighting indirectly with the Timbers and the Tomiyasus to start. Maybe that's giving him an even bigger kick up the bum, man. And since he's moved to right back, he's been a revelation, isn't it? Really? 2 quality players, man.
And do you know, this season, I didn't really see what he was doing differently from last season, but it weren't working. But I don't think us as a team was working in parts to start the season, right? But for me, bruv, since he's been into this inverted role as a fullback, he has been taken to another level. And I think it proves how comfortable he is on the football, man. Because in the middle, he looks great, whether he's in the right side. Whenever he is on the pitch right now, he's doing the right thing, man. And I think Arteta deserves a lot of credit for his form as well, because moving him into an inverted right when Zinchenko's been out allows Kivior to play better as a left back. And all of a sudden, White has blossomed, man. I think that definitely is, for me, one of the biggest positives. Do you see what I mean by that?
Yeah, man, you're bang on the money, man. Obviously, Benjamin White, the team weren't really the same, but he had a bit of a teething problems as a centre half. I wouldn't rule out him deputising or going back to centre half, but he just looks more assured at right back. And you're right there, man. And that's one thing I've liked about Mikel Arteta. It sounds silly, and a manager should do it, but you should know a player's strengths and weaknesses. We tried the inverted role with Kiwior. It didn't work out. You've made him a traditional fullback. Benjamin White takes on the creativity in that regards. And when we find solutions like that, I still like Zinchenko, but then we don't have to waffle about Zinchenko not being there. Last season it was kind of to take nothing away from Zini and Jesus, but it was predictable. No Zinchenko, we're not really creating nothing. No Jesus, you're not getting that selflessness. So as Arteta always says, he's finding different solutions. And, when you play like Benjamin White, you don't need to watch football, do you, man? Absolutely quality player, broski.
He is, man. I love him, man. He's one of my favourites. And I saw a picture of him or a video of him in the tunnel, and he was absolutely class, man. The way he was staring people out, I was like, yeah, you're actually a real one. You get
He's
it.
He's a shithousery, isn't it?
Yeah, he is, man. He absolutely does anything to win. And I remember him saying that he'll do anything to win, even if he's beating his missus at Uno. I was like, yeah, I love that. That's the attitude I want at my club, man. That's the standards I want.
And he doesn't even get credit for the set pieces as well, man. Going back to what you said about his intelligence, like, he's got a big role at our set pieces. And you know yourself, the amount of goals we've scored from such. So big up Benny, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely, bro. He's been fantastic. And Bukayo Saka gets a lot of heat just because he's Bukayo Saka and he's the next best thing from England and he's got to be this way that let's just let him play his game, man. Let's just let him play his game, because the way I see it is he is an unbelievable footballer that one will be spoken about for the next decade to 2 decades. So long may it continue with him, man. I've got to talk to you about one of the guys that's got a lot of stick this season and it's now starting to get a little bit of praise. And to be honest with you, rightly so. Kai Havertz has come into this team. And there's a hell of a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's had 3 years at disappointment at Chelsea individually as a player. A lot of people hating on him. Comes in for 65 million, 250 plus a week at the club, and he's stinking out the joint in a few games at the start of the season. I personally don't feel he was played in the right position. I wanted to see him move forward. Since then, bro, what have you made of him?
I mean, you said it there, man. I think while he's going to have to play in midfield at some times and be utilized in a bunch of roles under Mikel Arteta, he looks better as a striker. It goes back to the Kiwior thing, a strength of Kai Havertz isn't the build-up play. He looks like a duck out of water when he plays in that 8. And I think other players have to take responsibility, but between Kai Havertz having to play there with us not bringing in another midfielder, or maybe that was Arteta's initial plan, and, we've had different left-backs, I think that has affected Martinelli. When Havertz is through the middle, you can see it yourself. He does perform in big games. He is one of our best players off the ball. He puts in a shift defensively, and now he's getting the goals. And I think he looks more confident in the team, and he looks more confident of his role at Arsenal. And I think that's why he's doing his thing, really and truly. I've come to accept with Kai Havertz that he's one of them players across 38 games. Arteta's just going to utilize him in different ways. One thing I'll give him for all the question marks is he does turn up in big moments. He isn't scared from the physical fight, and he deserves his bit of form. Like you said, man, you know, he joined Arsenal a bit off the back of bad press or whatever, because, you know, it didn't work out for him at Chelsea. A lot of us fans, myself included, couldn't see how him individually to the way that Timber and Rice would get us closer to being a more competitive side. But so far it's working, and so far it looks like we've got the best deal out of all the players who left Chelsea, man. So big up Kai Havertz, long may it continue, man. But I agree with you. I don't think his position is in the 8, and looks a bit better as a striker, man. He just looks like a free spirit. He makes good runs. He's just doing his thing, man. So shout out Kai Havertz. He deserves all the plaudits he can get. And some of the finishes in recent weeks against Burnley and the Van Persie-esque finish against Sheffield United, I think that comes down to confidence. I don't think he'll ever be clinical. I still think we need a striker, but I've come to accept Kai Havertz for what he is. And if he can keep this up, then we've got a dependable squad player, in my opinion, man. So big him up.
No, facts, man. Listen, I'm with you. People, there's over 200 of you in here, and there's only 39 likes. Come on, man. Let's get up to 100 likes.
Smash
Make
the
sure
likes, people. It's free.
Yeah, man. Come on. It's free content. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Make sure you go follow Deluded as well, and go subscribe to his channel also. Listen, Kai Havertz's journey at Arsenal is a strange one for me already, because I thought he was going to be an awful signing. Turned out looked like I was going to give him a chance, but he might be proving me right. Thought, yeah, now you're going to be a flop. Then thought, now I'm seeing some improvements. I'd like to see you further forward, and then make that opinion again. And I'm starting to be proved that, yeah, he deserved to be put forward more, because I personally feel like all of his attributes are good in the final third. None of it is defensive minded. And I want to see that now from Kai Havertz continue. And I think that in the 9 or off the 9 or false 9, whatever you want to call that position, whether he's playing with or without Trossard, I think it's working. So I want to be seeing him dropping back into midfield now, man, because for me, it was like not good. And this is what I want to see from Kai Havertz for sure, man. I kind of feel as well, DG, right? We've got like, this ain't going to be good. Oh, it's a little bit better. Oh, it's a good run now. And then it could get to that next step, which is like, wow, he's actually now just won something. That's what I'm kind of hoping, like it gets to that stage, because a lot of people will sit there and go, well, how do you rate this Havertz signing out of 10? It's kind of hard for me because I was really low. Now it's gone up a little bit. I don't want to go too high yet because he's had a few good games. I'm kind of like maybe a 6 out of 10.
Halfway
maybe
house,
7 I'm halfway house type thing. Because nothing's happened yet. Do you know what I'm saying? But I do feel like there's some qualities there that I clearly did not see. And Mikel Arteta did, which I think you brought up earlier, is why we're sitting on YouTube and why he's doing his thing in the dressing room. Do you know what I'm saying? On the training ground. But listen, I think the signing of him, people will look at the end of May over a full season. But I do think he deserved a little bit of time to settle in, and he did come in with a lot of pressure. But rightly so, man. This is Arsenal at £65 million. You got to be able to handle that pressure, and right now he's doing that, bro. So fair play to him. Do you think Martinelli is a strange situation with him? Because I think he's now starting to score, and he's always worked tirelessly. Thought he was immense against Newcastle in the first half, and I thought he was really good against Sheffield United. But you know what I meant? For me, I felt like Kai Havertz was kind of getting in the way of his game. I actually think somehow now he's complementing his game in the last couple of games. And I find that bizarre. And I also believe that is because he's further forward now, Havertz. Because when he was in this 8, he was kind of doing a little bit of Martinelli's work for him, getting in the way of him, mix matching. Now he's gone forward and he's kept out of the way. He's now linking up with him more. And I think that's actually benefited Martinelli's game, in my opinion, bro.
And I think you're bang on there, man. That's what I was saying earlier. I think, I don't know if Mikel Arteta initially planned to use Kai Havertz as a multifunctional guy. I don't know if there was a plan to bring in another midfielder and always play Kai Havertz up front. But I can only go off what I know in it. And Kai Havertz is not a direct replacement for Granit Xhaka or an enhancer. His strengths are not there. And I think, as I said earlier, when you correlate that with the inconsistencies and the injuries at left back, I do think that's harmed Martinelli's game. Obviously, Martinelli has to take accountability off his own back. But I agree with you. It looked like they were getting in each other's way. For some reason, I think the poorest I've seen Kai Havertz personally was Fulham at home, where even Mikel Arteta after the game, he normally plays quite coy on criticising Kai Havertz, but he was very specific about he needs to do better. And I think you're bang on, man. I think, it's a bit of a weird one, but it's like he's gone up front, he's getting in his way less. And as you said, they're complementing each other. Like you look at Kai Havertz's goal. Martinelli's picked the Sheffield United man's pocket, Kai Havertz has finished emphatically. So I guess it's a case of, as you said, he's been given some time to adapt. As you know yourself, whether you've played Sunday League or Pro Ball, football's all about relationships. And maybe he's just understanding the games of his players, how his teammates play, man. So long may it continue. But I must admit, I don't really want to see Kai in the 8 anymore, man. I'm with you with that. It's a striker
100.
thing or nothing, man.
Yeah, it's got to be a 9 for me. Yeah, I had this comment before, DG. This makes you laugh. Must be Kaz or Daps over at Never a Foul.
Oh, man, I'm never going to beat those allegations, man. Normally it's Errol Spence, man. I'll accept that one, but I'm with the Bergwijn one, man.
Bergwijn, man. He's got the Tottenham lurgy. We can't be dealing with that.
Oh, man. If any way, do you know what? It cost of living and that, if for some weird reason someone needs to get a Steven Bergwijn guy at birthday parties, shout me, email me in. It is what it is.
100, man. 100. Listen,
big up Never a Foul, man.
Yeah, man. Big up Never a Foul. Make sure you go subscribe. Listen, I must say, bro, the one player that I am falling in love with, Bukayo Saka's my favorite player, and it's always been a bit like this with him and Martinelli, right? But it is Saka's my guy. But Declan Rice is knocking on that door, man. I'm loving this guy, and do you know why I'm loving this guy even more right now? Because he's playing in the 8, which I believe was always the plan anyway. And he's killing it, bruv. Absolutely killing it. What are you making of him?
Bro, it's probably the shortest player we could speak on, really. What more is there to say? Declan Rice has made 105 million quid look like a bargain, whether he's playing as the 6, whether he's playing as the 8. Like you said there, I believe that's always been the plan. And that's kind of one where I wish I was a fly on the wall at London Coley, because when you look at Kai Havertz playing as an 8, where you look at Declan Rice having at times to play as a 6, and we don't have that long-term partner, what could have been? It feels like Declan Rice has been here for 20 years, really and truly. And he's probably going to go down in Arsenal history as one of the most important signings at the Emirates, man. The guy's absolutely mastered his mentality, his technical ability. Obviously, he's taking set pieces. I think he's had, in terms of goals and assists, his highest ranking kind of season now. So it's another one where Mikel Arteta is getting more out of the players. Like, Declan Rice is easily top 5 favorite Arsenal players, man. And I feel a bit sad to say that, where I'm like you, Saka easy, Martinelli easy. I'm a big fan of Odegaard, but it's hard not to love Declan Rice, man. And again, if we could just find that long-term partner for Declan Rice, we're lit. And what I like is he always fronts up to the music as well, whether it's in games or after games. He fronts up to it, man. The man's a talisman. You saw him, carry the team against Chelsea. You see him get the winner against United. You've seen it. Like, Declan Rice is quality, bro. Like, Dan, there's nothing more I can say. Declan Rice, thank you, West Ham, innit? When you look at Enzo and Caicedo, I mean, boy, we got a deal, didn't we, man? Really,
yeah,
man, why we get him in sooner?
Listen, I said it was a bargain, and of course everyone laughs because it's 105 million, which is a lot of money in football. But the biggest compliment I can give him is that it was a price that nobody's now talking about. Oh,
no
my God, 105 million for that? Nobody cares, man, because look at him, right? The other compliment I can give him is that we haven't actually missed Thomas Partey this season like I thought we would. Yeah, and the other compliment I can give him, because I can give him more, is that he is not allowed the price tag to get to his head, because a lot of fans do, a lot of players do. Look at Mudryk, look at Anthony. We can keep going. There's so many now. Enzo and Caicedo are 2.
Could even say our very own Pepe, maybe.
You can talk about ones that weren't over the 100. You can talk about the Pepes. You can talk about players that have cost 60s and 50s, if you like. For me, bruv, he has not let that get to his head. He's got all the pressure in the world. He's English as well, which makes it even more pressure, because players look at the England lads like English tax, 105 million. You come into the middle of midfield like a Vieira type figure. There's a lot of pressure on you. And he's like, I'll deal with it. And boy, has he dealt with him, man. I've been so impressed with him. And I tell you, if we win anything this season, it won't just be him. Like, there's a reason as why we've won it. He will be a massive contributing factor as to why we've got across the line, because everything that he's brought to us on the pitch and off it, mentality-wise, brilliant with the media. There's not nothing I don't like about this guy, bro.
Even the way he speaks, bro. Even the way he speaks, like, I can't remember where he said it, but he basically said, I'm not being funny, but I'm doing everything that I was doing in the West Ham shirt. I love the quiet confidence and the quiet arrogance about him, in that he believes in himself and what he can do. And I have to give him, again, as a professional footballer, as you said, he costs 105 million. He's an England international, he's a West Ham captain. You should be able to retain information from your manager. But the way you're playing at West Ham versus at Arsenal and doing all the other things, you're clearly a very intelligent man, able to take on information. So I love Declan Rice, man. I mean, you do as well. I don't think there can be an Arsenal fan that has anything bad to say. I know I push people, say, oh, he doesn't pass the ball forward enough. And I guess he could work on that. But as you said, we're not missing Thomas Partey. I would love to see Partey, Rice and Odegaard, but it is what it is. Shout out to Rice, bro. You're bang on the money, man.
Yeah, facts, man. And do you know what? Party Rice and Odegaard, we got a glimpse of it against Sheffield United, and then he got subbed. But listen, it is going to happen, I'm sure. But he just needs to get the fitness because Party looked a bit rusty when he came on, bless him, because
Hella
he's been
rusty,
out for
bro.
months. Yeah. Let's quickly touch on. I want to touch on a couple more players that are outside of the defense, but I do want to concentrate on this partnership because I think we've got the best partnership, Gabriel and Saliba, since Kolo Toure and Sol Campbell and Tony Adams, Keown and Bold days. I honestly believe it when I say it. The stats are there. They're young as well. You know, Gabriel's 25, 26. You've got Saliba who's 22 years old. This is going to be an unbelievable partnership, brother. And already we're starting to see why. I think they complement each other. You mentioned Gabriel being underrated. Saliba, an absolute monster. And Kivior, man, deserves a mention, man. He's come into this game, and at the moment, I don't see Zinchenko getting back in it. So these three, they deserve to be talked about at the moment, bruv, because clean sheets have been a big factor, DG.
Facts, man. You got to be very honest. I think it's been a tough time for Kirill with a lack of game time, with a lack of consistent game time, playing at left back. Obviously, he's playing like a traditional left back now. He was playing inverted. It's not been easy for Kirill. I still have question marks over Kirill. I don't think he's been, no disrespect to him, I don't think he's been tested. I think he stood up tall against Liverpool. But I still remember last season, against Sporting Lisbon. I still remember messing around with Djibouti against Brighton. I still remember you getting hooked at halftime against Fulham. But if you're not going to come in and be a first team regular, come in and show your competencies, and again, if he can play left back and centre half, God forbid, but if Gabriel is falling off, you might get a spot there. In relation to the two centre halves, we've got, as you said, we've got one of the best pairings in the Premier League and world football. And we just hope, this is why we need to achieve something, man. Like for the last 20 odd minutes, we've been talking about these players. This is why I want to win something. I think Saliba and Gabriel complement each other well. It's like good cop, bad cop. I don't think Gabriel gets enough praise for his level of consistency. I don't think he gets enough praise for him just allowing Saliba to be gracious, because he's almost like the first one through the door. He's the aggressor. And one thing I like about Gabriel, it sounds silly to say about a defender, but how many defenders in today's day and age actually love defending? How many defenders do you look at? And it goes for Saliba as well. He proper loves it. Like, how many people have they pocketed? Again, they're human, things can happen and whatnot, but how many times have we gone against teams where we're playing potent strikers, and in previous years, Dan, we'd look at our centre backs like, you lot are going to crumble in the tunnel. These men are relishing it, man. And as you said, clean sheets, that's what's built on titles. With the greatest of respect to Kirill, I think the jury's still out, but where Benjamin White, Gabriel, Saliba, and I guess Raya, if we can get Timber back and fully fit, then we've got a back five for a number of years, bro, to really achieve something.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you, and I don't remember any Premier League side winning a title without a back line that was absolute
Exactly.
quality, man. So, and the pairing is there as well. Got some super chats I want to throw at you in a minute, DG, that are coming in. So make sure you keep
Go on.
them coming in, guys. And we will answer them very soon. I want to talk to you and touch on two players. Two players, one of which came in and kind of deflated the Arsenal fan base in last January, and the other one who can't get back in the side at the moment due to being injured, and some would say doesn't get back in. I'm, of course, talking about Jorginho and Jesus. Now, Jorginho's come in, and I must say, he's been a very good signing, man. Between 10 to 12 million, a very underrated player, very controlled. And I think for certain games, is perfect. I think he's a good cover player for Thomas Partey or Declan Rice in that holding role. And Gabriel Jesus at the moment is going to struggle to get back in because of the way that we're playing. And I think that's complementary to the front four players. But Jesus can be a little bit more versatile and come in and on the rights and on the left and be a little bit more of a kind of rotated sort of player. So what do you make of these two's futures at Arsenal, Jorginho and Jesus, bruv?
I mean, with Jorginho, it looks like he's going to get a new deal. I disagree with the new deal per se, because it's like, from what we hear, it's giving him a new contract versus taking the option out, which if that's what Arteta wants to do, that's what he wants to do, bro. But if like you take out that 1 year extension and this time next year, me and you are saying these same things about Jorginho, let's do that. As you said there, I think when the games and the conditions are right for Jorginho, not really like Chelsea away or Spurs at home, when it's more of a chess match, when Arteta's playing the Eddie Howe's and the Peps, that's Jorginho's bread and butter, man. And I said it in January when we signed him. I was like, I know it's somewhat underwhelming, but I couldn't believe the general reaction to Jorginho. I get it. Chelsea cast off. He's not really the guy to take us to higher levels, but he's a very intelligent player. And I can't really talk about what you do off the field because we just hear about it. But clearly you're a valued member there. Jorginho's been great. In relation to, you said Gabriel Jesus, isn't it?
Yes, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, in relation to Gabriel Jesus, you just got to stay fit now, man. Like you said there, on current form, you're not getting back in the team, which sounds crazy to say about Jesus because I love him, but Yeah, man, you can't get back in the team. You know, Tomiyasu, Partey, Jesus, all these guys coming back. You're not getting on in the first team at this moment in time because the team's doing their job. I just need Jesus to stay fit. As you said, he's very versatile. If we were to bring in a striker, he's cover on the left and the right. But then again, as much as I could say that with Jesus' injury, you probably still need to bring in a winger. But I've got time for Jesus and his mentality and his experience. I know a lot of people are kind of done with Gabriel Jesus, and he's another one that looked rusty. But I think people need to remember how he played at the Emirates against City when there was no Saka, how he put in the shift. We need a squad, bro. And these players and all the things we're saying, it shows it. You know, when we go back in August, every player that wasn't starting, of the very own guy we was just talking about, Gabriel, they're getting sold, etc. I think fans need to get comfortable with a squad and certain rotations. Unless you're the Sakas and the Declans, you're not really going to play week in, week out like that. So, yeah, man, big them both up, really and truly. We need that quote-unquote experience.
Facts, bro. Big up to Richard in the chat, one of our members.
Big up Richard, man.
Big up, Rich. Listen, let's go to a couple of these super chats because one of them's a nice segue into the Porto game, and it does mention Gabriel Jesus, which comes in from Ibi, who has said, Jesus good in Europe, tricky for rigid teams like Porto. Would you start him up top against them? Havertz versus Brentford and Jesus versus Porto is a suggestion. What do you make of that one, Deluded?
It's an interesting one, Ibby, man, and Dan, because like you don't actually know. Like there's a lot of, you know, if you what I might say today, I might say something different tomorrow. I am starting to think against Porto and I'm jumping ahead against Brentford. Are we better off trying something random? Like I would always start Martinelli, he'll always play for me. But could you put Jesus out wide if fit and Arteta reckons and put Havertz up there? Because the funny thing is, it's them kind of big games, the Portos and the must-wins. That's Havertz's bread and butter, really and truly. He's always performed in the bigger games. And obviously, Porto know us. You know, they clearly did their homework against us. I kind of want Arteta to do something random, something unpredictable, really and truly. So maybe Jesus off the left and Havertz up top for me, man, is how I'm feeling at this moment in time.
Yeah, obviously at the moment, Martinelli, we're not too sure about. Obviously, come off with the injury, cut foot. As you mentioned, I think Saka as well was ill, so I don't know what the situ is there. But I'm thinking maybe we give Martinelli a bit of a rest and we look at this Brentford game and look at potentially using Trossard or Jesus in that situation. And then the scenario might change for Porto. You know, this is you make a great point previously about using a squad. People have, I think, sometimes forgotten about that because we used that in the unbeatable season. We went there with Carnu and Wiltord sometimes, and Henry would not make it on. People would be like, what are we dropping in for? Reyes would come on instead of Pires, and we had Van Persie and Fabregas come through sometimes. Exactly. This was like all good things, and this is what we need to be leading up to, man. We need to be using
there was less football than now. Like, so
absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I think this Porto game, let me just put before I bring the next super chat up, this Porto game is massive and I think it's a nice segue to it. So let me ask you on that. Thoughts going into this one, man? 1-0 deficit. We've got to try to turn it around. Confident we can get the job done, bro?
I mean, with the current form and being at the Emirates, like I have to be confident. I'm a lot more confident than if it was a thing where we lost at the Emirates in the first leg and they had to go there away from home. We have to be, because at the end of the day, if we don't change that scoreline, we're out. I don't know how Porto are going to set up. I don't know what they're going to do, but I have confidence. But at the same time, I'm wary. How are we going to play? Are we going to do what we've been doing in recent games, just starting hard and being aggressive? Or are we going to play a bit of a chess match? Because I don't think it will happen, but how many times have we seen us start very well on top of the other side? They're defending for their lives. There's one moment of madness and suddenly you're 2 goals down. So I think it will be a big psychological test. I feel actually in hindsight as well, bro, in that the last recent games we've played, with the exception of Porto, focusing on the league, it's probably come at the right time because, you know, with the exception of Liverpool, and people could say there's injuries and take nothing away from our performances, we've been winning the games we're supposed to and doing it in great fashion. So I'm full of confidence, but it's a big 10 days or so, man. At the end of the day, we need to beat Brentford and keep this title stuff alive. We lose to Porto, we're out. And then after that, you know yourself, we're against City. So I'm full of confidence, but there's also that bit of nerves because you just don't know. But I hope it's a magical night at the Emirates, man. I must say.
Now, listen, absolute facts. I am looking forward to what is going to be a magnificent March. Let's hope it's a magnificent March. Certainly a massive one. Brian, big up yourself, bro. Brian Holiday says, big up to both of you guys. You'll both really help bring the fan base together. Big up to you, man. Thanks a lot, man. Says, what do you think of the Zinchenko to Bayern Munich rumours? Yeah, I see Newcastle and Bayern Munich are sniffing around Zinchenko. They're looking at the situation at Arsenal's left back scenario right now with Kiwior playing there, Tomiyasu and Timber also to come back. I think Zinchenko is going to be staying. I think Arteta sees him as an Arsenal player. What about yourself, bro?
I think he'll stay, man. I think it'll be interesting because he's got 2 years left. And again, you can't really buy into paper talk. But when you're hearing 45 million, if Timber and Tomiyasu and Kiri will just keep doing what they're doing and stay fit, Arteta might say, you know what, go over there. So if it was a case of 45 million, then fair. But I actually think we need to keep Zinni. I think he's good for the squad. I think when the sun's shining at the Emirates, them kind of games, I think I would have loved for you to be on the bench against Porto. I just think you need to demote him now from being a first team regular to being a kind of squad player. I've got nothing but respect for him because he loves the club, and at the point of signing, he gave us another dimension. But I reckon he stays, man. I don't buy too much into that. I don't know if he goes Newcastle or Bayern and necessarily plays left back, but you know, Newcastle have issues around their fullbacks. Bayern Munich, apparently that Davies guy could be leaving. So maybe it's just creative journalism, really, if I'm honest with you, Dan, man.
Yeah, there is. I think when they see Alphonso Davies linked with Real Madrid, they think, right, who's going to go Bayern Munich? And they've picked
Exactly.
Zinchenko this time because he's injured and not playing as much. Listen, people, make sure you smash the like button. We've only just hit 100 likes, which is great stuff. We've got nearly 350 of you watching, so please make sure you keep
Doesn't
hitting that
cost a
like
thing,
button,
man.
man.
Hit the like button.
Facts, man. Absolutely. Listen, let me stay on the Champions League before we move to the league. This weekend is going to be a massive weekend, which I want to get your opinions on. But first, the Champions League in general, when you look around, it's back now. Last couple of nights, you've seen Champions League action. What are you feeling in this competition in terms of the others and the opponents that we could be getting if we do get past Porto? We've got Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich obviously turned things round and they went through. Like, where are you at, man? Who are you seeing that could go all the way in this competition, bro?
I mean, you've got to give the respect to Manchester City because I think they're hitting form at the right time. They won it last year and everybody's scared of City. Real Madrid, you know, when you think of the Champions League, if it was going to be renamed something, it would have to feature Real Madrid's name. So these are the teams that you kind of want to stay clear of, really. But you know, if you go all the way, which I hope we do, you're going to run into these teams. In relation to Bayern Munich, it's weird, but you'd rather play Bayern Munich or PSG, you know, with the whole Mbappe stuff. Bayern Munich, I know they've won a game recently, but they're a bit, you know, doing mad things. Obviously, they got the Spurs boys there. That could be some bad luck. The Champions League scares me, bro. Like Edu said, and I agree with him. It's like, let's just enjoy it, man. Like, we just have to hope it's our day, man. But there's some big, bad, experienced players. And I do think we're a bit naive. And I don't know if we have that added kind of experience to get over the line. And I kind of saw that against Porto because it looked like we didn't have another plan. Like the Porto game, I'm lying a bit because against Lons, I think they set up defensively, but that was the first time I've seen in the Champions League where Porto were a bit street smart, kind of stifled how we were playing. So I'm a bit wary. And again, the one thing that makes me nervous is while we're in great form and everybody's coming back from injury, as you know, these things can change. So I don't know the climate of assuming we get through Porto, what the next rounds are going to be saying, but we've got nothing to lose, man. You know, if we lose, Arsenal bottled it, blah, blah, blah. If we win, it's great. So I hope the players enjoy it, man. You worked so hard for the last 2-3 seasons to achieve this, and you finally got it. But yeah, man, City, Madrid, these if Inter are even still in it, I can't even remember. They were in the final last year. These some big games and some difficult away grounds to go to, man. So let's just bring it on, man. But we have to do a Porto first, bro.
Yeah, of course you do, man. Like, listen, I'm in a situation where I just want to get past Porto and not care about who we get. I mean,
This
if you
is
said
it.
to me now, Dan, who do you want? Okay, I'll pick the winner of PSV and Dortmund, probably, right? Because you want the easiest fixtures
Yeah.
possible. But you're not going to avoid a big team if you go through Porto, but you've got to make sure that you do that. The teams that are in it, Inter Milan are my dark horses. I think Real Madrid and Man City, you can never look at or look past, should I say. And then, of course, you've got PSG with Mbappe's, you've got Barcelona's or Napoli's. They're going to be a big test. It's like, this is a Champions League, man. This is what we asked for. And when people are going, oh, no, we're going to get one of them. Yeah, man. That's what we want. That's what
this
we
is what it's
asked for.
about.
It's what it's about. You're not going to go to the Champions League and go and play Club Bruges and Maccabi Haifa, man. It's not what it's
Exactly,
about.
Copenhagen and that. You're right, man.
Exactly, bro. So we got to look at it, man. Look, I personally feel like the Champions League is a flip of a coin competition because the amount of times I've got it wrong or who's going to win it because I've gone for the best teams in their leagues, it
Me
ain't worked
included.
like that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this is the season that Arsenal can do it. Who knows? Let's concentrate on this weekend next because this is a massive weekend. We'll concentrate on us first, and then we'll look across the pond to see what's going on with Liverpool and Man City, and we'll have Villa and Spurs as well this weekend, which is a mad weekend,
Come
mad
on,
Super
Emery.
Sunday. Yeah, absolutely, bro. So we're going to Brentford. Any changes for you this weekend coming into this fixture? And what are you expecting, bro?
It's a techie one in terms of changes, bro. Because like, if something's not broke, don't fix it. But it's that age old thing, like, you know. if we continue this form and we hit a blip, then everyone's gonna want everything changed. I think right now the squad's picking itself. You know, I would say my bias, if Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, and it's not gonna happen, Timber will fit, I might take Kyrgios out, but he don't deserve to be dropped. I think Havertz has got to play up front. It all depends on where we're at with Martinelli and his fitness, because I would start him, but I am tempted to put Trossard in there. Simply put, against Brentford, we need to take 3 points. I don't think we're going to batter them for 5s and 6s, but we're back at the Emirates. Allegedly, they're missing their whole back line, so we need to show what we can do. I'm sure Ivan Toney's going to want to give a good addition of himself. And we both, you said you're going to get onto it, so we both know the game on Sunday. But we need to do our job. It's irrelevant what City and Liverpool are doing. If we do our job and get 6 points this week, and someone has to drop points in that game, it's going to take a bit more than that. But this is where we're kind of at, really. We know it's out of our hands, man. So let's just do what we need to do. And obviously, it's Ramsdale's last game, well, potentially his last game. So I hope it's a clean sheet for him as well. It'd be sad to see him go, man.
Yeah, man, it's going to be the last game that he plays, in my opinion, and I hope he gets a good reception. I think he will, and I also hope he has a good game, man. And I wish him the best in his future. I hope he goes to a club that actually look after him as well, and not, muck him around or anything in his future, because he's got potential to be a quality goalkeeper. Maybe a Newcastle, they might look at Nick Pope and think maybe we can be an upgrade on him. He might go to a Chelsea or somewhere like that. Wherever he goes, I hope that he does well, man. I really do.
Facts.
And I hope he has a great game at the weekend. I do fancy us this weekend, mate. I think this form is just too good to be true. I think Brentford have got some injury problems at the moment. The whole back line is pretty much out. Hickey's out. Pinnock is out. Ben Mee's out. I think they've got a couple of players up top as well. I think Mbuemu might be out as well. So they got Visser and Tony back. But for me, they're always going to have a threat with Ivan Toney, and I do think he probably will get on the score sheet, but I do think that we'll be all right and we'll get through the game. So I'll go on for a 3-1 on this one, DG. What are you saying for this game, bro?
I'm saying 2-1, man. I think Brentford might take the lead, you know. I just think football's weird, innit? Because we've been in cloud nine, just blitzing teams, clean sheets. I think this one will be kind of a traditional kind of football match, man. But now that I've said that, you've convinced me to more go with the 3-1, but I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal, man. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, which would be sad for Ramsdale, but yeah, man, I think we should be confident to get 3 points. I do think we're going to get 3 points. So, boys, don't let me down, innit? Really.
Facts, bro. Listen, then we turn our attention on the Sunday. I mean, Villa and Spurs, and then Liverpool and Manchester City. What results would you like in both games? And then I'll ask you the question of what you think will happen.
I mean, it's simple for Aston Villa Spurs, innit? I want Aston Villa to completely run riot and destroy them lot down the lane, man. Really, it's as simple as that, bro. But Liverpool City, I'm a bit weird because for me, I was more on, until I did a live stream yesterday, I was more on the whole, I'm scared of City. I need City to drop points. But then people have been converting me and making me think, you know what, it might actually be better if Liverpool drop points because they are at the top. They have got that Klopp thing, you know. They're doing the same thing City are doing in that it's squeaky bum time. They're getting the results, you know, last minute winner. I hope for a draw then, man. I hope for a draw. If I had to bet my life savings, I'm going to go 2-1 City. I think Pep has been waiting for this point of the season, and he's just trying to remind everyone, for everyone that said they've fallen off and post-treble hangover, that they're the big bad bullies and turned this league into a farmers league, man. So if you had to ask me with my heart, I'm going to say 2-1 City, but I hope for a draw, man, because that way both teams lose.
Yeah, I hope for a draw. I really do hope for a draw. I don't think it will be. I think Man
Exactly.
City win this game, man. I really do. And I think Liverpool have got the injuries now and they got away with it, but they got away with it against teams like Southampton. They got away with it against teams like Forest. They got away with it against a dead Chelsea side in an extra time that looked completely dead and buried. Now I'm looking at it thinking, I don't know if they were against City. I hope it's a draw. I think if Liverpool win, they've put themselves in an unbelievable opportunity to go
They
and win
might
the
not be
league.
caught, man.
Honestly, bro, if they beat Man City, they should go win the league. I'm not even like lying. Their fixtures are kind to them in comparison to
Exactly.
Arsenal and Man City because they've got Villa away and Spurs at home. Other than that, I expect them to take 4 points. I really do. I expect them to, and they've got Trent coming back, Alisson coming back, Salah now back to full fitness pretty much. Jota still to come back as well at the end of the season, bro. It's going to be a tough one, man. It's going to be very tight, whatever. But I think Liverpool win this game. Wow, flip it
They're in the
over.
driver's seat.
Yeah, they're on the driving seat. Flip it over, Man City win this game, and then they go beat Arsenal, Man City in the driving seat. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is going to be a massive couple of games. And this March month, we're going to see where we're at the end of this month for sure, bro. We really are. Personally, I think it'll be 2-1 City, and I think the Villa Spurs game will be a 2-2 draw. But I hope like you, Villa beat Spurs.
I'm going 2-0 Villa, man. Let's talk into existence, bro.
I hope so, man. I really hope so. I kind of, I expect you to want to say that, and I should be saying that more. But something tells me that that Spurs might come and surprise
They're
and get
jammy,
something.
man.
But
They've been
yeah,
jamming
you
all
know what they're
season, the
like,
Spurs
man.
lot, man.
They're not even amazing, but they still seem to somehow get something. They wait to the last minute as well most of the time, Spurs. They've come in like a bit of Fergie time, bit of Ange
Yeah,
time, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, it's mad. It really is.
Fact.
It's crazy. Listen, last of all, I'm going to talk about this City game. I know I shouldn't really look ahead too much because obviously we've got so much to do before we get there. But it's weird not to because we're in a month of March where we've only literally got 3 games.
Yep.
Brentford, Porto, and Man City. This is probably one of the biggest games, or well, as long as we beat Brentford and as long as we stay in the Champions League, this is going to be one of the biggest games of Arsenal's last decade, in my opinion, Deluded. I'm serious when I say that. It is a massive, massive game. And it could have similar scenario to the Overmars of Old Trafford in 98 if we were to go and
Mm.
win there, right? That's what it would do to us. It would lift us. If it's a draw and we beat Brentford and we go and beat Man City, we're the ones in the driving seat, man. So thoughts going into the Etihad, bruv. It ain't been a pretty place there the last few years. Can we change it around this year?
Right, it sounds cliche, and I said it last year, but if we don't win this year, when will we ever, man? Like
Yeah.
you'd imagine, the players are urging caution, and rightly so, as you said, and I said as well. You can only look one game at a time, but that game has to be put in red felt tips at London Coley. Like we need points with that. We need to, and it would be a psychological boost for us to do the double over them to show we can compete. Because we've got a decent record against the top 6 sides. We haven't won at the Etihad since we had Monreal and Coquelin and Santi Cazorla. Think about the changes in that. This will show me mentally how we get through it. I would love to win. I echo your thoughts, but I always think of the saying, if you can't win, don't lose. So like, if you could get a point and a draw, it's something to play for. But as you said, if we could get 6 points in our next 2 games, then we're in the driving seat. And it feels for once in the last few weeks that it's actually in our hands. Because let's be honest, as much as we like this rebuild and everything we're doing, we're the third of a 3-horse race. We're reliant on City and Liverpool to kind of drop points. So we just need to go there and be fearless. And kind of what you said, relish it, man. This is what we wanted. We wanted to be in the Champions League. We wanted to be in must-win Premier League games and whatnot. Show we can compete. I want us to get to that stage where I'm not necessarily shocked if we beat Liverpool or beat City. It is what it is, really. So, yeah, man, we got it all to do, man. And we should be filled with confidence. Hopefully, the players are fit. And this is what I mean by we need the Tomiyasus, the Jesuses, the Partey's to get up to speed immediately with the greatest respect to the players that are starting. But we need everybody now, man. We need everybody. And let's just hope we can do it, man. Like it must be demoralizing, for fans, more the players as well, but for the fans, like every time we go to the Etihad, like we mark it off. That needs to change now. Of course, it's easier said than done, man. And City, going back to what you said, is Pep sitting there and going, you know what? Yeah, Liverpool have been doing their thing. Arsenal been doing their thing. Boys, we have the chance to directly dent their hopes. That's where I'm looking at it, man. And I guess if you're a neutral, this is exciting. It's exciting for me, but boy, man, this sport that we love is crazy, man.
Facts, bro. It is. And this is what everybody should be wanting as a neutral. And everyone definitely should be wanting if you support Arsenal, Liverpool, or City, because this is exciting. Back end of a season, it's going into a 3-horse race and it's tight as anything, man. So let me ask you lastly, bro, because I don't know if you've seen this kind of mind games that Trent Alexander-Arnold and Haaland are now playing with each other. I quite like it because Liverpool and City are now playing mind games and Arsenal just sitting in the background like crack on. I love
That's
it.
what we should be doing.
Yeah, man. We're forgotten about. It's beautiful. We can sit there, relax. Hopefully, we beat Brentford on that Saturday night, and we can just go. Do you know what? This Sunday is going to be beautiful, whatever happens, and that's what I want to be seeing. But I saw that Trent Alexander-Arnold, should I say, has come out and made comments about what it means for each club to win the trophies. That Man City don't really mean as much as Liverpool because Man City have bought it, and Liverpool spent a lot of money as well, by the way. But I understand what he means that Liverpool have done it the right way in terms of how they've bought their squad and put it together over the years. And Haaland's apparently come out and I'll quote, he has said, if he wants to say that, then it's okay. I've been here 1 year and I've won a treble. It was quite a nice feeling. I don't think he knows that feeling yet. So that's what I felt last season, and it was quite nice. They can talk as much as they want. He can talk as much as he wants. I don't know why he does that, but I don't really mind. I feel like they're both kind of getting at each other a little bit, and it's a little bit of the mind games and maybe the Wenger and Fergie days and some of the Keenan Vieira days. We don't really see that anymore. I quite like it, DG. I can't lie. It's quite good going into this weekend.
I'm with you, Dan, man. It's nice to see footballers have a bit of personality. It's almost like them NBA players. It is nice. And obviously, that's going to ruffle a few feathers in the opposite fan bases and the opposite camps. And it's just mind games, like you said, man. It's Trent trying to do the never walk alone Anfield kind of stuff. It's Haaland trying to tell him and remind him that, yeah, Klopp and Pep have been going to battle, but typically Pep's won the war, really and truly. It's just mind games, man. And as you said, I don't mind it, man. I love that sort of stuff. It's nice to see some effing personality, man. Made the best set of individuals winning it, really. I'm happy, as you said as well, that, you know, we're out of it. I wouldn't want my players saying that because we haven't got to that kind of realm yet. Let's just keep doing our job, man. But that's lovely to hear. And as you said, if we beat Brentford, we're enjoying that Sunday game even more because someone's going to have to eat humble pie.
Absolutely, my bro. Listen, absolute legend for coming on, man. We're going to leave it there,
Come on, my
people.
guy.
Make sure you do me a favor. What likes to be on now, man? We are currently on 140. Let's make sure we can get that up to 200, please, people. That'd be amazing. There's 350 of you in here, so that shouldn't be a problem. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you go do exactly the same thing over to Deluded Guna. What you got coming up, bro?
Appreciate that. 5:30, I'm going live. I'm just going to talk about anything Arsenal related. I actually brought out a video on Kai Havertz issuing him an apology. So apart from that, yeah, man, it's just same old, broski, man. Love for having me each and every time, man.
Nah, come on, always welcome. You know that. I'll be over with you yourself, I'm sure, at one stage. So make sure you catch DG and myself over on his channel on Deluded Guna. So make sure you do that, please, as well, people. Back tonight at 7 p.m. here. We've got all the boys coming on, all talking all things, our guys and girls, actually, I should say, tonight, talking about a fan debate with all different clubs. So make sure you're there at 7 o'clock. And then at 8:30, I'll be on Lead Judges TV, talking with lead judges about all things Arsenal. So make sure you're there, people. We're out of here. Peace.